Ever since the first home video game console released in 1972, dozens more have followed suit. There have been many historically influential consoles released on the market such as the NES and Atari, but there is one console whose popularity outdid all of those who came before it. In 1988, Sony and Nintendo planned to join forces to create an add-on for the SNES called the PlayStation. Hundreds of prototypes of this console were created. It's kind of cursed to see Sony on an SNES looking controller. Anyways, after feeling that Sony was getting too much control over the project, Nintendo secretly vetoed it and partnered with Philips instead. Sony was surprised to see this, especially since Philips was one of Sony's biggest rivals at the time. Following this, Sony and Nintendo quickly severed their ties. Sony went to Sega with the idea, who quickly denied it. Understandably angry from all of this, Sony was out for revenge. They made plans to release their own standalone console inspired by the SNES. It would focus mainly on 3D graphic capabilities, not to mention it also served as a CD player. Genius marketing employed by Sony accompanied by the versatile functionality of the system catapulted the PlayStation to a worldwide success in 1995.
The Sony PlayStation. Now see the outstanding technical capabilities of Sony's advanced video game system, and how game developers the world over can now create a stunning new generation of interactive entertainment.
It sold 100,000 units on the first day and 2 million after 6 months. And in case you're wondering, Sony did get its revenge, because the PS1 would go on to outsell Nintendo's SNES by over 50 million units. The PS1 earned Sony a major foothold in the gaming industry, with games like Tekken and Gran Turismo being huge releases. This set the scene for one of the greatest console releases of all time.
Not yet rated. Rated E for everyone, or T for teens.
On October 26, 2000, the PlayStation 2 was released in North America. On the first day, it sold over 500,000 units, absolutely decimating the PS1's first day sales of 100,000. 5 months after release in North America, the PS2 accumulated over 3 million sales. 21 years later, the PlayStation 2 is the best-selling home console of all time, with over 155 million sales, with over 4,000 titles available on it, some being the most iconic games of all time. The second best-selling console of all time was the entirety of the Nintendo DS family, which includes every model of the DS ever made. Because this includes a whole family of consoles, we can exclude this figure. Following the DS family are the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, who clock in at a combined 119 million sales. This means that the PlayStation 2 outsold these iconic handhelds by over 36 million units. But why? Why did the PS2 sell so well? Well, most obviously, a large part of it was because of the original PlayStation success. The PS1 showed the world that if you needed a reliable game console with the hottest new releases, the PlayStation would be your console. Speaking of having a reliable name, the original PlayStation's controller came back for a second appearance with only minor tweaks. Although a recurrent controller can lack novelty for the user, it retains familiarity. Since the PS1's controller was so well received, the familiarity definitely helped the PS2's sales. On top of this, the PS2 had some great marketing. The target audience was older than that of Nintendo's, claiming that the PlayStation 2 was the best console for mature gaming, although the console still did market towards teens as well. Sony also bragged of the great specs and technical capabilities of the new console, which may have been a bit overhyped. Despite this, there was still clearly a massive improvement in specs from the PS1 to the PS2. Just like how the PS1 served as a CD player, the PS2 served as a DVD player. Because DVD players were still expensive at the time, it was practically a steal to get a game console and a DVD player in one. To this day, people still buy the modern releases of the PlayStation consoles for the Blu-ray compatibility. Not only could this console play DVDs, but it could also run discs of games from the PS1, making it backwards compatible. This was huge, as users didn't have to shell out hundreds of dollars to repurchase the games they had bought for their last generation consoles. Where Nintendo outdid Sony was in their exclusives. Nintendo's lineup of exclusives included legendary games like Wind Waker and Metroid Prime. However, Sony countered with their wide selection of third-party titles. Almost any game you wanted to buy was on the PlayStation. This became especially advantageous in Sony's favor when you realize that the PS2 had a nearly 13-year lifespan. Of course, I can't name every reason the PS2 did so well, or this video would be ridiculously long. But anyways, the PlayStation line of home consoles continues to be legendary to this day with the release of the most recent PS5. Please subscribe if you want more content like this coming soon. And just think about if Nintendo hadn't screwed Sony over all those years ago. Thanks for watching.